Hello, young lawyers. You will be taking a case today that involves either Christopher Columbus, King Ferdinand, and Queen Isabella, or the system of the empire. You will be tasked with building a case to defend your client against the charge of murder in the millions. The question? Who is responsible for the deaths of millions of Native Americans? In this video, I will be reading you the indictments against each of the three defendants. Christopher Columbus. You are charged with mistreatment and murder of thousands, perhaps millions of natives. Your first act in the lands you discovered was to take possession of other people's territory in the name of an empire thousands of miles away. From the very beginning of your time in the Indies, you kidnapped Native Americans. On your second voyage to the Indies, you ordered your men to round up the natives and had over 500 shipped to Spain as slaves. The list goes on and on. When you arrived in Hispaniola, there may have been as many as 1 million or even 3 million natives on the island. According to one Spanish priest, by 1542, there were only 200 left. There is no one to blame but you, Christopher Columbus. King and Queen Ferdinand and Isabella. Without your money, Columbus couldn't have launched his plan to find the East Indies by sailing west. Without you, he was an unemployed sailor. When Columbus returned after his first voyage with several native captives, you rewarded him, and so you too became guilty of kidnapping. You could have ordered Columbus to stop kidnapping natives. You could have punished him for this illegal act. By not doing anything to stop Columbus and his men, you legalized every crime they committed. Really, you didn't care what Columbus did so long as you got rich. Because you were the bosses, and because you paid the bills, and because you got the profits. You have more guilt than had you been the ones wielding the swords and the hangman's nooses. Finally, the system of the empire. You are also charged with the mistreatment and murder of millions of natives. But this is where it gets complicated. You are not a person, but a system, and we like to blame crimes on people. But in this case, the real criminal is not human. True, Columbus's men did the killing. Columbus gave the orders, and King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella paid the bills and took the profits. But what made them behave the way they did? Were they born evil and greedy? The real blame lies with the system that values property over people. The European system saw only white Christians as full human beings. It was a life in a system that valued private property, especially gold, and approved of violence against foreigners and non-Christians to get it, that made Columbus and his men enslave and kill. Sane people do not kill hundreds of thousands of other human beings. It was a rotten, insane system that led Columbus and others to behave the way they did. Any European conqueror would have been every bit as bad as Columbus. Why? Because the system of the empire was to blame, not any one individual. Hello, young lawyers. You will be taking a case today that involves either Christopher Columbus, King Ferdinand, and Queen Isabella, or the system of the empire. You will be tasked with building a case to defend your client against the charge of murder in the millions. The question?